Hello everyone, welcome to the JA Alumni podcast. My name is Ilaria and I'm your host for today's episode. So, before we get into it, I'm just going to introduce myself slightly. Basically, in 2022, I took part of the company program, and after winning the program together with my team EasyBeads, we got the opportunity to represent Malta at the Gen E, which took part in Estonia later on in the year. This opportunity was one of many great things that came out of the company program. So today, I will be taking over the hosting of this episode, where we'll be talking about the overall experience and much more. So today, with me, I have Julian, which also took part in the company program 2023, and same as me, got the opportunity to attend Gen E in the same year. Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. Thank you for having me.
We are happy to have you here. Would you like to tell us about your experience?
Yes, so like Ilaria said, in 2023, me and my company H2LO, selling these bottles, won the competition and we got to go to Gen E. Ours was in Istanbul, Turkey. It's basically the same as on the national level, but instead the winning teams from all around Europe go to compete. There is a competition per se, but again, since it's over the span of 5 days, not months like it is here, it's more of a networking and just seeing out what other people did and whatnot and learning.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. So basically, for our listeners, because obviously some of them don't really know what Gen E is, just a quick summary, it's basically, as you said, an opportunity for young entrepreneurs like us, where we got to share our ideas and with the many countries. I think from our year we had around 38 countries, if I'm not mistaken, with thousands of students. So it's on a large level.
It's a contrast compared to what we had here.
Yes. And it was a great opportunity for my experience to share my ideas and obviously build a network with other students around the world. How was your experience attending this event?
It was really interesting for me because, again, for like about 8 months before that, when the competition started, I was meeting new people and interacting with them, but at the end of the day, they were all Maltese, you know.
It's true.
There were some people I know, so it was my team, the mentor, our marketing teacher back at SAC, and that was about it. Okay, then we met clients and whatnot.
Yes,
but again, like in with just a flight, with thousands of people around us. Yeah, when we had our stall in Turkey, it was dozens upon dozens of other stalls around us. Like you said, your year 38, my year, I don't know the exact number, but
probably
about that,
same.
Around that amount. So yeah, just the scale of it, it was just really fun to be there. It was nice to be part of something so large.
It's true. And maybe from, obviously, you met a lot of different countries. Was there some particular thing that struck you? Example, if you interacted with a specific country, I don't know, one of the countries that was there, was there that moment that you felt like, oh wow, I'm actually here, and from just an idea of we have the possibility of attending this event, it became a reality? Do you experienced anything like this when you were there?
I think it was mostly quite later on at the end when we were seeing a recap of everyone's speeches and whatever, because you could see how just the level of seriousness with which they were taking it. Like back here, everyone was taking it seriously, don't get me wrong, but obviously there were some teams which were doing better than others.
Yes, exactly.
You know, like up there it was sort of the creme de la creme. So you really had everyone taking it seriously, you know, everyone's suits were perfect, coming on, speaking very coherently. That was one thing, like, wow, okay, so it's a lot more professional.
It was a very reality check.
Very business.
Exactly, good. So I think maybe now we can move on to the journey, because obviously, as you said, this is an 8 months long journey from the beginning. I remember our first event was the treasure hunt with my team.
Yes.
And had gone all around Valletta like crazy people trying to find the clues. So it all started from back there. So in terms of journey, so obviously after you win the company program, you have around 2 months, so not much time. How did you find the process of preparing from obviously a national level to a bigger international level? What steps did you take?
One thing I think we did the most of was really change our marketing strategy because at first, well, to go back to the national competition, in the beginning, once we first got the bottles, we were struggling a bit to sell. Turns out it was because we were lacking marketing and whatnot. So back home, we really, like here in summer, we changed our marketing to fit the Maltese population, for example.
Sure.
I'm sure you know, Maltans, especially in summer, it gets quite hot.
Yes, it's true.
So we really sort of oriented our marketing around the fact like, oh, but 2 liters of water a day, it's healthy for you, survive the coming summer. Like, you know, helping people prepare.
Exactly.
But again, for an international audience, that won't necessarily apply to everyone. So we really had to shift everything like that to make it more accommodating for more people.
It's true. And obviously it takes quite a bit, I mean, apart from this, you also had like the school and exams coming up.
Yes.
So were there any mentors that helped you during the process?
Yes, I would say our mentors were of it, don't get me wrong, but we decided, I think, unspoken agreement, we didn't go to them for everything. I'd say if we had a big decision which we decided we want some background advice on, would go to them, that help us and whatnot. I think who we went to a bit more though was our marketing teacher back at SAC. I think that's what we went to help for. Also, parents. Yeah, some like Michaela, for example, our CEO, often went for advice from her parents. I'd ask mine. Andre would ask his. So we got a mix of ideas before we made a decision between ourselves, and even for preparing, we'd ask for something.
Yes, so, same in our opinion. Like we had obviously had to adapt our demographic because the same. We wanted to focus on a problem that was within youths of in a Maltese setting initially, but then we tried obviously to expand it and leave a greater impact to the rest of the people. Yes. So something also related to the same topic. How would you describe in a few words or even a sentence Gen E to someone who maybe wishes to attend these type of events? Maybe they're young entrepreneurs or looks into possibly taking part in the company program in a few years or something.
So
like
how I
that.
would describe Gen E to them?
Yes.
I would say a very large and entertaining international event, you know. I mean, again, it's quite hard to explain it in one sentence, especially for me. I mean, that was like one of a kind. I haven't really attended anything similar since or before that. So I would just say very large, entertaining, educational, international event.
Yes, even me. I think one word which I think would summarize this is like the triumph of our whole JA journey, I guess.
Yeah, it was obviously icing on the cake.
Exactly, after the whole process, like as you said, the 8-month process, this small idea from nothing, just a few discussions and then you literally tell thousands of people about your idea. It was just amazing, and even thinking about it, even though it's been a few years, wow, that actually happened.
From like going to Costa Coffee in the mornings at SAC to that, yes,
Costa.
I remember. I think that was where we did like a lot of the initial ideas for products.
Sure, even us.
Like, we had a free or like break, let's go discuss, or we find an empty classroom somewhere. From a small classroom to that massive hall, it's quite.
And we used to draw on the boards our idea, like mind webs, maybe this, oh no.
And then once we're done, take a picture so we remember.
I literally have a photo of us in masks because it was 2021 when we started, and we're just sitting in separate desks, so we're not next to each other, and we're just staring at the boards. It came up on my memories like a few weeks ago. I was like, so many, like, even though a lot of years has passed, the effect that moment left on me and our journey, it was amazing. Yes. So very, very it really shows how much just the process leaves an effect on you later on in life, which is amazing. Good. So in terms of let's go back to the process itself. Obviously, at a Maltese level, you said that there were some teams that put in certain amount of efforts, whilst obviously some others wanted to succeed and achieve their goals better.
Yes.
In preparing for Gen E, in terms of intensity, how would you rate it from 1 to 10? Was it so hard, or did you expect it to be harder? How would you rate it?
For Gen E, I'd give it like a 7.58. Honestly, it was, I would say, if I had to comparison between the two for more context, I'd say it was harder to prepare for the national level than Gen E. Because like once we went to Gen E, we already had the national under our belt.
Exactly.
So
you had like
we're like, all right, we've done this before.
Yes, we're there.
Like it was, for example, I remember when they told us that the final was going to be at Sir Temis and Meat Hall. It's like it's all right, not as big as it was in Istanbul, but it's still like quite a big hall. So you're like, oh my god, we have to do a whole skit and then do a presentation and memorize everything, and a big bulk of the points are going to be based on this. So it was a lot more nerve-wracking. Once we did that, like, okay, we can do it well enough to win the nationals. You know, I'm sure we can do it to a degree. We'll be proud of what we did in Istanbul.
It's true. And obviously, even on a national level, they actually prepare you how to give the presentations and what you should do, what you should not talk about, and all that, which is obviously for us it was very useful because the presentation there was like, you have the time, 3 minutes, you can't go over or under.
You lose points.
So yes, I wasn't one of the speakers, but from what my friends could tell me, the ones presenting, they felt that it was much easier to speak in front of a larger audience compared to Malta, because in the beginning they didn't have that type of experience, even though they were just in front of a panel of judges. They found it much harder back then. So yes, that was,
I would say as well, I think another reason why it might be even a bit harder, it feels harder back in Malta, is because once you go to Gen E, you have the team of JA Malta behind you as well.
Exactly.
Like naturally, all right, you can go to JA Malta for help if you're at the Malta stage. But again, for fairness, you know, the limit, they won't give you like everything, you know. But obviously, once like you're the winning team and you're like alone, you're the ones representing Malta. Obviously, they'll do their best to help you and guide you forward.
I think that was the main difference as well, because obviously during the company program itself, it was more our mentor that took on the role to help us when we needed help. And then when we got to actually planning for Jenny, it was mostly the J office. I remember we used to come in here in the leadership hub and with the boards and just data.
Yeah, I remember it was quite funny. Right after we finished, so on that same night that they announced we won, we were all happy, you know, celebrating. Exactly. It was not as ominous is a strong word, but something along those lines. Matthew Caruana had come up to us. He pulled us aside. He told us, "Well done, guys. This is how we need to start preparing for you."
The work
now it's happening again. Like, all right, we could have, maybe waited till.
No, yes, we definitely felt that amount of pressure.
Yes, like, all right, so
I achieved
next
this,
bridge.
yes, there's a bigger step waiting
exactly,
for us.
Exactly.
This is just the beginning. Because it gets real. Like, I mean, then you're representing Malta, which is one a huge honor, but at the same time brings a lot of pressure on your shoulders.
There's more responsibility to it.
Exactly,
you're not representing yourselves now. You have to show.
Yes, but obviously a great opportunity, because
for sure,
it's not every day that you get an opportunity to represent Malta. So that was a huge experience. So now should we talk about like the actual Gen E? So what went on in Gen E?
So the activities themselves.
So out of the 5 days, you said it was around 5 days. Was there one specific highlight that you would say, or maybe a few?
I think the two events I enjoyed the most were, one was an actual event organized by JA themselves, like Gen E. It was the boat trip. We had a boat trip along the river in the middle of Istanbul. So it was very nice. We lived like on one side is Europe, on the other side is Asia, so
that's nice.
It was really nice. There was music. It was that I enjoyed a lot. Plus it was at night, so you got to see the Hagia Sophia lit up, all the buildings on the waterfront.
That's nice.
Like the buildings on the waterfront are a lot nicer than
Exactly.
Some of the nicer buildings, so it was very nice to see everything lit up. And the second thing, it wasn't really organized by them per se, but on the last day we were free mostly because they had announced the winners of Jenny as a whole. I think it was Greece. I'm not sure. Well, anyways, whatever. They had announced it the evening before, and we were sort of free till about 5 p.m. when our flight was, to go catch the plane. So as the Malta team as a whole just went around Istanbul. It was really nice. We got to go through those markets, like the bustling markets. So I really enjoyed it. It felt like something out of Aladdin or whatever, So, in Istanbul it's a very, such a very
yes,
nice
I remember. So obviously at the end of, I think it was the final day or the day before, I'm not so sure, they had announced that they're going to do it in Istanbul next year. And we were honestly very shocked because obviously the Gen E is for the Europe. And we know that Istanbul was like in the between. It's like that would be interesting to know how it goes about because obviously there's different cultures,
To be fair, we stayed on the Europe side whenever closest we got was in the river.
Yes, it's a very interesting country because exactly like that.
Yeah.
So I can imagine it was a great experience.
Yes, I enjoyed it a lot.
And that's what I found was really nice about Jenny is exactly as you said. So we got to work and we had to do like the presentations and the marketplace, but we also got the time to explore the city.
Yes.
I remember we had the whole afternoon just to tour Tallinn in our case because it was in the capital, and it was really nice just to get to know their culture.
Yeah, exactly.
Because since you're there,
it's always something new to experience.
Exactly. You would want to see. I remember even though it was July, I was still in short sleeves. I was like, this is not new since we're from Malta. Obviously, it's always very hot, but yes.
That we're prepared for.
Oh, yes, it's true. So, should we go on a short break and we'll come back shortly?
Yes, of course.
We'll see you very soon.
We want to thank Aġenzija Żgħażagħ and the European Union's Programs Agency for their support in not only this podcast, but all of the projects we do at J Alumni Malta. The Invest scheme and the Solidarity Corps scheme are the projects and funding that allow us to do everything that we do, and they're fully invested in what we're doing and the vision that we have for J Alumni. So thank you, and let's get back to the episode.
So, continuing on what we're left on about the actual experience of attending Gen E. In terms of the competition, because obviously there were hundreds of teams, did you feel inspired by any team in particular? Maybe you can remember an example of one?
I remember there was a team from Montenegro, back in Gen E. Their pitch was really interesting. It was basically, if I remember correctly, they had kind of made this website or this platform where there were teachers and students combined, not just for school, for even like dance and whatever. And they literally had a whole performance for about 2 minutes before they actually got to the presentation. I'm like,
so
wow,
nice.
the dedication that they had. Like we did a bit of a skit to work, and it's like that was next level. I'm like, wow, they captivated the judges for sure. It was very cool.
And example, in our opinion, I saw multiple teams like even before our presentation. I just was watching and I was like, oh, they had a really good presentation. Did that in any way push you to how do you say?
No, yes, to want us to strive to be better.
Yes, exactly.
For sure, because again, even you're seeing other countries trying so hard,
Exactly.
You don't want to, both for yourself and both for Malta, like you're representing Malta, you don't want other countries to look like they're putting in much more effort than you.
It's true.
Obviously all well and good that they're, doing their best.
Exactly.
Alright, so we don't want to look shabby compared to them, so let's work harder to meet the par.
Without even knowing, you just
just
giving that extra
it's just
effort.
a vicious cycle.
Exactly. I remember even at the marketplace, obviously there's where all the teams and you try and sell the most products. You want to be the best known. We had literally just gone around with our products and we were trying to pitch it to everyone we know.
Yes, so we did
giving
something
our
similar.
best pitch. I literally had remembered the pitch by heart by the end of it. I said it so many times, but it was like...
We did something similar, I remember, because... So, for context, as part of our skit in Gen E, we decided to make a literal costume for this bottle, a costume of this bottle. And because I was the tallest one, they said, "Oh, you should wear it, Julian." Like, all right, I'll wear it.
Exactly.
Initially we were just gonna wear it for the pitch, and once that was done, I'm like, okay, thank God, I can just dress normally. It's over. They come to me and someone like the JA Malta team. They're like, that was really good. You know what you should do? Because now, like the day after, we had the stalls. There was a massive hall, like with all the stalls lined up. You know what you should do to get people to come to your stall? You should wear it again. So I literally spent the better part of 2 hours walking around, again, waddling like a penguin, because if this was the costume, only just my feet were sticking out. I had no leg room. Just waddling with a penguin, my friend was there in case I'd fall or something. And just telling people like with this bottle in hand, like pointing to our store and like telling them about our product. So that was one thing I think, yeah, with.
And was it effective is my question?
It was. No, I mean, they were like, I mean, we got some laughs, quite a few laughs, and pointed that way, and they went to go check it out. So all's well ends well.
Yes, and it's obviously an even greater feeling knowing that you're getting recognized by foreign people.
Yeah.
Example, some investors had come as well, like in business people, local business people of there, and it's amazing knowing that they're interested in your product, even if they don't buy the product, which is fine. But knowing that someone values what you did is even greater feeling.
Yes, we had quite a few people who you could tell, like we had the normal ones like coming, seeing everything, but then there were a few, in the suits who were like a bit more investor. Like even at a point, I think we had the head not of JA Europe, so not Salvatore, the Italian guy. We actually of JA like worldwide come up, and he came to like talking to us quite a bit about it. Like, and we found out after who he was. Like he walked away, and then one of the JA staff of Malta, like, you know who that was? Who? It was like the head of JA. So like the fact that they're showing so much interest.
Yes. I think ours the Prime Minister at some point.
Of Estonia.
Yes. And obviously we didn't know who it was, but after they told us, you know what, that was his Prime Minister.
All right.
It's better knowing after though, because without even knowing you get nervous. So
for sure.
Yes, but it's obviously a great opportunity even to speak to these people and seeing how they react to young entrepreneurs, because after all, as they say, in the future it's us who are going to become the workplace.
Exactly.
So it's I think that you value a lot.
They were very enthusiastic about it as a whole. We were very happy with it, as in it wasn't like they were just coming to see some museum exhibit.
Exactly.
They stare and leave. Like there were a lot of people who were actively asking us questions about it. A few bought bottles as well themselves. They're asking for our social media, whatever. So it was very, it was refreshing,
Exactly. Yes. And in terms of the connections, like obviously we had certain activities where we were able to connect with other people and get to know the insights into the process that they went through to create their product. Has that left an effect on your journey? Did it improve it, or what was the overall impact of it?
It's always interesting to hear the behind the scenes of other countries. Like I remember in particular, for lunches and whatever, we were sat at very large round tables which would fit about 3 teams from different countries. I remember these we always used to discuss with other countries. I remember conversations with the team from the Isle of Man. We spoke with Ireland as well. Who was Montenegro? Those were the main 3: Montenegro, Isle of Man, and Ireland. And always the behind the scenes of everything was always really interesting.
Exactly.
It's like everyone has their own process.
Exactly.
So we got to explain ours, and it was a big help because there's always just new ideas to explain. Like they maybe came up with some idea to make things more efficient. Like
exactly.
we should have thought of that.
It's true. It helps you think of how.
What other ways could we have done this?
Exactly, which is interesting.
Yes, exactly.
And effective for the future as well.
Just more perspectives. So
exactly. So moving on maybe to the aftermath of Gen E. So obviously 5 days, it's a lot. A lot of things happen in the 5 days. Has that left an effect on your growth as an entrepreneur? So after you attended Gen E, what impact did it leave on you as an entrepreneur or the team as a whole?
I mean, to speak for me personally, I think it was just really interesting to see just how many people are like you. There's always the right people. You just have to find them, you know. Like even obviously once you're there in Gen E, automatically the people that are going to be there are very entrepreneurial and business oriented. So the fact like these people do exist, to help you and whatever, to compete with you, whatever, to buy your products. To purchase from them. You just need to know where to look. That was one thing. Because in Malta, that was one of the major differences as well. Reaching out to different sponsorships and whatnot in Malta, or even possible partners, whatever. I remember for our marketing in Malta, we had reached out to quite a bit of social media influencers. For example, we had reached out to Naomi Shikluna from 3 Hour. we reached out to Vibe FM, and we got mixed responses. Like obviously a lot said yes and helped us and whatever, but we got a few like just didn't reply at all or said no, refused to.
You know, it
Yeah, so that was the thing that like, all right, it takes some time to look for them, but then once you find those people, you know, they can really just help you. You can help them, you know, such stuff.
Yes, it's an interesting how obviously an entrepreneur, you're very much left to your own free will.
Exactly.
Like if you're part of a company, you're given what you can do, guidance.
It's a blessing and a curse.
Exactly. So you learn a lot, and even from my experience, I didn't really see myself as possibly becoming an entrepreneur, but to the skills that you gain, to what other people help you achieve. Sure, it's something that even possibly don't see it now. It's you can never know if it could happen in the future or not.
It's very beneficial regardless of what profession or whatever you want to do in the future. You know, just skills, even people skills, all the correspondence, working in a team.
Yes, very valuable skills.
So
exactly. Yes, so following that, in terms of the lessons that you learn from Gen E, example, obviously in my opinion, there were some master classes as well. I remember there was one of FedEx.
Yes.
Have those master classes or something activities that you did helped you gain insights into your personal growth?
Yeah, they were speaking, basically, if I remember correctly, a lot of these different master classes were just about the different qualities required to be, you know, a successful business and a startup starting from scratch. And one point which both stuck with me because of those classes, I remember correctly, but also because of my own experiences in the Malta competition, is just teamwork. Like, all right, it's said often, but as a team, from my own experiences, we got along well. We got along well, but then obviously, naturally, we had our arguments and you know, fights between disagreements and whatever. And I really came to realize and notice the difference in efficiency when we agreed on something and worked together well, and when we didn't. Like if we had a fight about if we had like a disagreement about something in particular, you know, it slows down progress a lot. But then when we all set our minds to one goal and like we all split the work and everything, we really like achieve it like really well. For example, back in Malta when we were doing all our stalls, because to sell the bottle, one of the main things we did was set up stalls around the island. And once we all agreed on that, we could do it really efficiently. Like someone brought the bottle, someone got the table, and so it's really it's great to see what a team can achieve when they're working together well.
Yeah, similarly in ours, obviously we had to create the product ourselves, so we decided to do it all handmade. And I remember it took us quite a long time to figure out the process. We had to restart, get more research, find out different ways, even the materials, we had to change them multiple times. And then you realize how the efficiency really changes when you grab onto something that actually works.
Exactly.
So similarly, as you were saying, if you know you can do something well, it helps you see that, oh, I can do it well, I can repeat it in the future.
Yeah.
And that was one of the main things that I learned, that if you know you can do it well, stick to what you know how to do it, and it will work for you in the future.
Yeah, as it like doing something well, even it's sort of you're hitting two birds with one stone, because not only at face value the fact that you're doing something well results in a good product or whatnot, but also just the fact that it's something you're managing to do properly as you intended to is just a boost and motivation in itself.
Exactly, because after all, it wasn't just the product itself.
Yeah, exactly.
From my perspective, I see that the JA journey was the journey of obviously using entrepreneurial skills to create the product and achieving the final product, but it's also learning how you deal with the problems, how you can resolve them, working as a team, which are great.
Very valuable.
Yes, in the workplace and the future. Yes. Actually, we have gotten a question from a Q&A that we did. Basically, this was one of our alumni who didn't have the opportunity to attend the Gen E, but asked us, what do you think, or how do you see it with any potential that Gen E could occur in Malta, so the event would take place? What are your insights?
I see it happening because, all right, it's a big event, but it's not something like the Olympics or the World Cup where we simply don't have the facilities. Like at the end of the day, for us, all the JA events, the boat ride, as I mentioned before, we're all in one big like hotel, you know, there's a hall there and everything. So it's not for a lack of facilities. I think we could handle it. Obviously, If it's somewhere in the vicinity of Valletta, it gives all the foreigners a chance to come and see our own history, our culture, and whatever.
Yes.
And I think we could handle it. It would be very interesting to see.
Yes, I think it could be very doable, to be honest, because I mean we have a rich culture, so that's not a problem. If it happens in the summer, because we know it usually happens around July.
Yeah, true.
Foreigners would absolutely love the sunny weather, so that is not a problem.
That's
Yes.
Tell them to bring sunblock.
Yes. So hopefully one day it will happen.
Maybe.
Maybe in the near future, maybe not so near future, but
We'll
yes,
see.
hopefully one time. Good. So I think we basically summarized the whole entire journey of Gen E, from the company program into the preparation into the actual event. So obviously it was a great opportunity for both of us to grow, to network with other people, to create new connections, as well as for our own personal growth. Are you interested in attending possibly similar events in the future, like the Gen E?
Yeah, definitely. No, I mean, it was all pros and no cons for me. I mean, I picked up a lot of things from it. I'm glad of the experiences and the skills, like on whatever. I see myself attending something similar in the future. I would enjoy it a lot, and I think I'd benefit from it.
Yes, similar. From what I can say, it was nothing but positive, and obviously there were the fun times.
Yeah, exactly.
The times where I had to work.
Yeah, exactly.
And some of the greatest memories I can remember from
enjoyed
those
it a lot.
times.
Yes.
And obviously, even through the alumni network and the even several opportunities that they create, even the countries, it's always good to reflect back to those memories that you get from Gen E and relive them in obviously not the same magnitude, but in a smaller proportion, that it's nice to connect with other people and share your ideas, which is amazing. Sure. So, thank you for having us. We had an absolutely great time talking about Gen E.
So did I. Thank you.
And we hope to see you future podcasts,
You
maybe.
Who knows?
So just before we go, we would like to maybe just in a few words or sentence give your final advice to any entrepreneurs who maybe are that one step away from achieving what they wish to, but are scared.
To be honest, I would say just because you don't have any experience in something doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. I mean, I signed up with my friends. I never had any public speaking experience except like in primary school presentations or whatever, so years before.
Yes.
But it's something you pick up along the way, they'll give you the tools, help you learn, and they want to see you succeed. So that's what the beauty of JA is, that there'll be these people around you.
Yes.
All right, there'll be competitors, don't get me wrong, but at the end of the day, the final goal is that you all improve these skills and whatever. So you're there to learn. Just because you don't know it doesn't mean you shouldn't apply, and it applies to all things, not just JA alone. If it's just because you don't know how to do something doesn't mean you can't learn.
Yes,
so I would say just take the plunge.
Yes, I totally agree. And one last thing I could say to our viewers is don't be scared, always try new things, and if you're interested in such opportunities, follow the JA network, and they have multiple opportunities for sixth formers as well as university students. So thank you for watching. We hope you had a great time, and we'll see you in our next podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you.